Hi student, today I am again with a mathematical physics related topic that is called cylindrical polar coordinate system, and this topic has been related to mathematics as well as physics, both these sciences, both this part of the sciences. In physics, regarding cylindrical polar coordinate, it has been widely used in astronomy, quantum mechanics, electrodynamics, thermodynamics, etc. And regarding course syllabus in CBCS and non-CBCS, this part has been given in connection with the curvilinear coordinate system. So when we start this cylindrical polar coordinate system, then again we have to see that this is a three-dimensional object. Cylinder is a three-dimensional object. We have to again draw it in a two-dimensional board. So regarding visualization of this coordinate system becomes difficult for the student. Okay, so what we will do, we will first try to understand what this coordinate system is and how to relate with the Cartesian coordinate system. So what we will do, as I told you, that you have to start from known knowledge first. So what is your first point is that you have to start from your known part. Then what you have to do, you have to extend a new topic. But mind it, when I am talking about this known part, you should know what is your relevance of that known part with this unknown part. So you have to start from a relevant topic. So then you try to realize the relation, you try to derive the relation. Then after deriving the relation, you have to visualize the situation. Okay, situation means whatever you have got, you should be able to visualize that thing. Then what will happen, your correlation from the subject from one to another will be clear and you will feel comfort on that subject. Now here, what you know at least the two-dimensional coordinate system. What are the two-dimensional coordinate system? One is your Cartesian coordinate system. You are familiar with this Cartesian coordinate system, and another is your polar coordinate system. Okay, so this we write xy, this we write r theta. Now as you extend this Cartesian two-dimensional coordinate system to 3D, you get three-dimensional Cartesian coordinate system. And when you extend this part to 3D, you get again two parts. One is called spherical polar coordinate, and another is called cylindrical polar coordinate system. So we have already discussed this in the previous video. Now in today's class we shall discuss what are the cylindrical coordinate system and how this cylindrical coordinate system r theta z are connected to x y z. This is our target today. Okay, so let us do it again in pen and paper with some cylinders, cylindrical models. Okay, so before we enter into this 3D spherical polar coordinate, let us first understand the 2D Cartesian coordinate system, Cartesian coordinate system in 2 dimension, as well as the 2D another coordinate system that is called your polar coordinate system. So this is represented in r and theta, and this is represented simply in x and y. Now if you consider any point in a Cartesian coordinate 2D, then suppose this is the point P we are to represent in two-dimensional space. Then what you have to do, you have to move along the x-axis first up to this point, and then you have to move up to along this y-axis. Okay, so if you are to represent, so this is the point R, this is the point P, and from the origin it is at a distance r, Then along x-axis, this will be your x coordinate, this will be your y coordinate, and that's why we write pxy. Now you see, y is always rectangular Cartesian coordinate system, it is perpendicular. So using Pythagoras theorem, I can write here r square is equal to x square plus y square, or r is equal to root over x square plus y square. That way we represent it. Then in polar coordinates, same point, suppose this is, you consider a point P, what you can do, you can use another coordinate instead of x and y, if it is your r. Then if you consider this angle theta, then for different points, suppose P is here, then your theta will be different. Okay, so by representing, and if P is here, then r will be different. So you can use r and theta also as the variable to represent any point in this 2D. So in that case, if I draw another perpendicular, this is your x-axis, this is y-axis again. This is r, this is theta. Mind you, this is in the anti-clockwise direction from the x, because if you consider clockwise, then this will be your angle. Okay, so this angle. In that case, if you consider, say, give a name OPC, then from this triangle OPC, what you get? Cos theta is equal to base by hypotenuse, so OC by OP. So OC is equal to OP cos theta. That means OC is what? Along the x-axis, I will consider x, and OC is x, OP is r. So I can write x is equal to r cos theta. Similarly, if you consider this sin theta, then what we get? We get this perpendicular by hypotenuse. That means PC by OP. So PC is equal to OP sin theta. Okay. So ultimately PC is what? You draw a perpendicular. PC is nothing but y. PC is equal to y, and OP is r, and this is sin theta. So that's why in polar coordinate, what we write? We write x is equal to r cos theta, y is equal to r sin theta. Is it okay? Now let us move this two-dimensional space to three-dimensional extension. You extend it towards 3 dimension. Okay, this is your rectangular Cartesian coordinate system in x, y, z. Now instead of this xy plane, I have considered the xy plane is here. Same thing, this is your x-axis, this is your y-axis. Same thing I am writing here, x and y. Okay, for the first time you leave it. This is the xy plane, so this was your xy plane. Now you are to represent a point, any point, say point P. In xy plane, of course, the coordinate will be again xy. So what you have to do, you have to first move along the x-axis, then you have to move along the y-axis. Okay, so x-axis, y-axis, y was perpendicular to this, so this is also perpendicular to this. Though in this diagram you don't see it as a perpendicular, but it is perpendicular. Okay, same thing I am drawing here. So in that case, if I consider from O, I am considering, say, this is your distance rho, because I have to consider z axis also, then I will consider r. Now I have used another symbol rho. So this point is again x, this point is again y, same thing here. Then of course you can write rho square is equal to x square plus y square. This is the two-dimensional plane, same plane here. Now if you are to represent in the three-dimensional plane, this point is not sufficient. Suppose this is the axis here, this is x-axis, this is y-axis, this is the z-axis. Suppose a point is here. If you move along x-axis, you will get this point. If you fix this y-axis, then you will fix this point. Okay, you are getting this point, but this point can be anywhere along this line. So you need to fix this z-axis also. So what you do, you draw a perpendicular from x-axis, you draw a perpendicular from y-axis, and then you draw a perpendicular from z-axis. As a result, you get this point P, X, Y, Z. So to represent a point here, you need to draw a perpendicular, what we call the z-axis, and this is most of the time we call it as a projection. Now if you were to represent this point here P, this is now X, Y, Z. You are considering the z-axis also. Here it was only XY plane, now you have considered the z-axis. This is again perpendicular, this is again rho, so this is the hypotenuse. So if I consider this is R, then this will be R square is equal to rho square plus Z square. Again rho square is equal to X square plus Y square, so I will write R square is equal to X square plus Y square plus Z square in 3D Cartesian coordinate system. So this is just we have extended from Cartesian coordinate 2D system to a 3D system. But when we draw simply like this, then it is very difficult for us to understand the thing. What we consider, suppose you consider this is I have considered a book as the rectangular object. You can visualize the thing like this. So this is x-axis, this is y-axis, and this is your z-axis. Along this is your z-axis. Now what you can do, you can vary along x-axis to get the whole book. That means if you cut along x-axis in a symmetric way, you will get the whole book. If you cut along y-axis also, you will get the whole book. And if you cut into some slices like this along the z-axis, then also you will get the whole book. So what we can visualize that these x, y, z are three variables which when changed we get the object. Now we will consider or we will extend this polar coordinate to 3D coordinate system. When we extend polar coordinate system to 3D coordinate system, then we basically get two types of coordinate system. One is called cylindrical polar coordinate system, another is called spherical polar coordinate system. Let us now consider the cylindrical polar coordinate system. So I have considered this to be a cylinder, solid cylinder. Now you look at the variation, at what variation I can cut it. So one variation is this, like spherical polar coordinate, as I told you, these are my vertical slices. If I consider this vertical slice like this, then I will get the whole cylinder along the z-axis. This is my z-axis along this. So if I consider this as the z-axis, this is my z-axis, then just cutting into some slices, I will get the whole cylinder. Okay, but now you look at the thing, this z-axis slices, these are same symmetrically. If you consider this is the radius r, then this will be also radius r, this will be also radius r. So along z-axis there is no variation of r. If you consider a particular radius r, then along z-axis this will be simply symmetric slices, there is no variation. Then we need not to consider any other variable along z-axis. So regarding cylindrical polar coordinate, we can consider z-axis as the z-axis. There is no problem with this because there is no change along the z-axis. Now what you can consider another variable, you can consider this cylinder to be made up of some small cylinder. So this is one cylinder, concentric cylinder, this is another cylinder, like this. So what is changing here? The radius of the cylinder. So if you change the cylinder towards the radius, then also you will get the whole cylinder. Just changing the radius along this direction, you will get the whole cylinder. Okay, so that's why r is another variable. R is a variable, Z is a variable. Because you have understood that when you change the radius, you will get the whole cylinder. When you change along the z-axis, you will get the whole cylinder. Now you see what is the other variable. What you can do, you can cut this again into the horizontal slices. If I cut into this, then it will make an angle theta. Okay, so by changing this theta, I can get the whole cylinder this way. If I change the theta, I will get the whole cylinder. So these are my some theta. So by changing this angle, okay, I can get the whole cylinder also. So therefore here you will get another variable, this theta. Okay, theta is my another variable. So you have understood why z is z, because along this direction there is no change. If you cut the slice, there is no change, whereas in case of spherical polar coordinate, these slices give us the another angle phi, right? Now it is not giving us any variable because it is changing, there is no change along the z axis. So I can consider z axis from the directly Cartesian coordinate system. So if I write it z, then there is no change along the z axis. Okay, this is x, this is y. Then this angle theta is my this angle. Suppose I draw the whole cylinder here now. This is my cylinder. Whatever I am considering, you can consider hollow cylinder as well as solid cylinder, doesn't matter. So this side and this side is parallel. You draw a projection or perpendicular from this point. Okay, so in that case, if it is r, from the center, this is r radius, this is also r, then automatically this will be theta. Okay, now you see, if it is r, this is theta, you draw a perpendicular. Okay, this angle will be 90 degree. As I showed here, this is 90 degree. So if it is 90 degree, then this part x will be my x is equal to r cos theta. Okay, I write here x is equal to r cos theta, like my polar coordinate system, same thing. Okay, then for this part, if I draw this part, this is my y, this is my y part. So if it is theta, as I told you, the side which is attached to the theta will become cos, and the side opposite to the theta will become the sin theta. So y is equal to my r sin theta. Okay, now you see what you have got. You have got the three variables. X is equal to r cos theta, y is equal to r sin theta, z, there is no change, it is symmetric, so z is equal to z. So these are the three variables and connected to r theta z. Okay, so this is the relation between Cartesian coordinate and cylindrical polar coordinate. Now look at the limit. Okay, so r, as I discussed in spherical polar coordinate also, r can be, the minimum value of r can be 0, and at the surface, if you consider this is plane, at the surface at the last boundary, then it will be infinity. So r will change from 0 to infinity. Then z, you can consider the cylinder here also. Okay, this is, suppose the cylinder is starting from here, then say this is the cylinder, your origin is here, then this is your positive side, this is your negative side. So it can be anything. Z is changing from minus infinity to plus infinity. Okay, then theta is changing from 0 to whole cylinder, 0 to twice pi. So these are my limits of r theta z, and this is my relation between the Cartesian coordinate and cylindrical polar coordinate. Okay, so now you can visualize the cylindrical polar coordinate system in 3D.